when news broke that the only son of billionaire tech CEO Charles Kingsley was found dead in his luxury apartment. The world was stunned. A young man with everything, wealth, education, power, gone too soon. The police said it was suicide, but a secret diary, found hidden behind a false wall, told a far darker story. A story of manipulation, betrayal, and a legacy built on lies. On the morning of September 9th, the body of Daniel Kingsley, 24, was discovered in his penthouse suite in Manhattan's Upper East Side. The housekeeper who found him said the door was locked from the inside, and Daniel was lying motionless on his bed, an empty prescription bottle on the nightstand. At first glance, it looked like an overdose. The NYPD found no signs of forced entry. Surveillance footage showed no visitors. They quickly ruled the case a suicide, but something didn't sit right. Daniel was a Yale graduate, an accomplished musician, and heir to the Kingsley Innovations fortune. He had just launched a non-profit to fund mental health initiatives in underserved communities. He had plans, momentum, purpose. So why would he take his own life? Charles Kingsley, known for building a $70 billion AI empire, released a cold, two-sentence statement. "We are heartbroken at the loss of our beloved son. We ask for privacy during this difficult time. No funeral date, no press conference, no emotion." But insiders close to the Kingsley estate said Charles was furious, not grieving. Not because his son had died, but because of what his son might have revealed. You see, Daniel had been pulling away from the family brand for over a year. He stopped attending board meetings, refused to take on executive roles, and, most troubling, he had begun investigating the source of his family's wealth. 1 week after Daniel's death, a contractor hired to inspect the penthouse's insulation made a shocking discovery. Behind a loose panel in the bedroom wall was a leather-bound journal, handwritten, dated, and marked, "Private Daniel J. Kingsley." Inside were over 300 pages. It wasn't just a diary. It was a confession, an investigation, a warning. Daniel had been documenting something for 15 months, something he feared might get him killed. The diary described a secret Daniel stumbled upon while doing an internal audit of one of the Kingsley Foundation's shell companies. He discovered irregular donations, millions funneled through offshore accounts to unnamed partners in Eastern Europe, South America, and Asia. At first, Daniel thought it was simple tax evasion, but the deeper he dug, the darker it got. There's money go to private contractors linked to surveillance programs in refugee camps. They're testing something, I don't know what. Facial recognition? Crowd control? I found a name, Project Morpheus. Daniel's entries became more paranoid as he uncovered more. "I think I'm being followed. I saw the same black SUV outside my building twice this week. Dad knows." He asked me if I'd been playing accountant. He smiled when he said it, but it wasn't friendly. "I'm scared of what I'll find, but I'm more scared of what happens if I don't finish this." Despite growing up in privilege, Daniel was known for being humble. He taught music classes to underprivileged kids. He refused to use bodyguards. He donated most of his $25 million trust fund to humanitarian causes before he turned 22. He was the opposite of his father. Charles Kingsley, on the other hand, was ruthless. Former military intelligence, turned tech baron. He built his empire through aggressive mergers, NDA silencing, and suspected data mining contracts with defense agencies. Daniel wanted nothing to do with it. In his final entries, Daniel hinted that his father's entire empire might be built on exploiting surveillance tools in conflict zones. Daniel's last diary entry was dated September 6th, 3 days before his death. "I sent copies of everything to Ava. If anything happens to me, she knows what to do." No one knew who Ava was at first, until investigative journalist Ava Moreno stepped forward. She said she had been working with Daniel secretly for months. He gave her access to encrypted files, paper trails, and a list of shell companies under Kingsley Innovations. Ava was about to publish her findings, but then Daniel was found dead. Ava Moreno refused to be silenced. 2 weeks after Daniel's funeral, a private ceremony with only 10 attendees, she published a 12,000-word expose titled, "The Empire in the Shadows, What Daniel Kingsley Died For." In it, She detailed everything. The illegal funding of AI surveillance pilots in war-torn regions, the connections to private military contractors, the silencing of whistleblowers, and most chilling, Project Morpheus, a beta program using real-time emotion tracking in refugee camps. The story went viral in less than 24 hours. Charles Kingsley denied everything. His lawyers filed lawsuits. Ava's story was labeled irresponsible conspiracy by Kingsley PR. But then, a second copy of Daniel's diary leaked, this time with video footage. Clips of Daniel speaking directly into a webcam, describing what he found, reading from bank records, naming executives. Suddenly, the media turned. The FBI reopened the case. Whistleblowers from within Kingsley Innovations began stepping forward. And Charles Kingsley? He vanished from public view. Protests erupted in cities across the U.S. Hashtags like hashtag Justice for Daniel and hashtag Kingsley Cover-Up trended for weeks. Daniel's story became a symbol, not just of corporate corruption, but of a son trying to redeem a family legacy he didn't ask for. His former classmates held vigils at Yale. His foundation was renamed the Daniel Kingsley Initiative, funded by donations, no longer tied to his father's money. And Ava? She went into hiding after receiving multiple death threats, but she vowed to keep publishing. To this day, no one knows exactly who killed Daniel Kingsley. The police never reclassified his death. No charges were filed, but the story lives on. His diary has been read by millions. His words quoted in documentaries, college lectures, and human rights campaigns. And as for Project Morpheus, the government claimed it was terminated, but leaked emails suggest it might have simply been renamed. Daniel Kingsley died trying to reveal a truth his family buried for decades. He didn't succeed in time to save himself, but he may have saved countless others. And one day, we may owe our freedom to a young man who dared to write it all down. Subscribe for more real-life stories that expose power, inspire change, and give voice to those silenced.